Hey guys, it's Josh with Four Cycle Runner. So this question comes in from Chris, and he asked, as you get older, can you still get faster? And does this apply to longer distance races? So there is a lot of factual evidence that backs up the ideas that you do get slower as you get older. Men lose about 1 second per mile every year after pace after the age of 40. Women also suffer from this loss, but it's at a slower decline. Muscle strength peaks at age 25 and then starts to decline. VO2 max peaks in your teens and then starts to decline at about age 30. VO2 max is your body's aerobic capacity. Think of how much air, oxygen you can take in as you're doing maximum work. Marathon performance peaks in the 30s. 100 miler performance peaks a little bit later, maybe in the 40s, it says. And then also, flexibility starts to decrease as we age. So, everyone deals with these physiological performance drops, but there's really no way to stop them from happening, and it's going to vary from person to person. However, there are ways you can combat these declines by doing certain things. And so let's talk about some of those things. So with strength training, you're going to lose lean muscle mass and power, right? So we need this muscle mass to support our movements and our bones as we're running. So in order to maintain muscle mass, if we've been going to the gym, it's easy. It's as easy as continuing that process, and we could drop the weights. So to ensure that we're not overdoing it, something more than body weight if we're used to going to the gym, and as little as 2 times a week can maintain lean muscle mass. If we haven't been going to the gym, then starting with body weight movements, simple things as functional movements like burpees, air squats, planks, push-ups are all good movements to start with. Plus, they're good functional movements for later in life. What is a burpee? A burpee is if you fall down, you can get yourself back up off the ground. That's essentially what a burpee is. Power loss is also a big deal for runners. It's most people don't think about this, but when you're running, that push off of one leg, you're propelling your whole body mass forward, either up a hill or on flat ground. That's functional power. There's a lot of power coming from that push off leg. And as we start to lose that power, we start to lose our speed. So, ways we can maintain power or increase our power is plyometrics. Plyometrics is typically it's a body weight movement, and it's done at high intensity, explosive power. Things like box jumps, squat jumps, one-legged hops, lateral, forward, backwards. All these things can help increase or maintain our muscular power, which is very beneficial for maintaining our speed, our running speed. So another thing that I talked about is our flexibility. As we age, flexibility decreases. Okay, as flexibility decreases, the incidences of injuries will go up. So we've all been every runner has probably dealt with some sort of injury. And once we get in that injury cycle, it's we run, we get injured, we do the things to get better, and that takes some time. And hopefully, before we get back to running, we're fully recovered. When we get back to running, that next period is one of the hardest periods to do it safely. Make sure we're doing it at a point to where we're not going to re-injure ourselves. That gets harder and harder to do as we get older. So it becomes more and more important that we do the things prehabilitation versus rehabilitation. We do those things before the injuries come around. All right. So we're talking about yoga, mobility, and deep stretching, and also dynamic warm-ups. A lot of runners do yoga, and this really maintains the body's flexibilities in a functional movement. Mobility, things like foam rolling, massage guns, all work really well in maintaining your mobility. Deep stretching after a run. So after every run, I have my athletes do when I do a stretching routine that takes about 13 minutes, and it's holding stretches such as calf stretches, hamstring, quad stretches for 30 seconds apiece. Now you can also do this same stretch routine once or twice a week where you're holding these movements for upwards of 2 minutes. That would be a deep stretch routine. And then finally, a dynamic warm up is very important for runners, especially as we age. We get the blood flowing, we get the muscles warm in a stretching and dynamic format. That way we can, one, stretch the muscles, get them ready, two, warm them up before we do the movement. Okay, and finally, run training. Obviously, we're talking about staying fast as a runner, so run training is going to play a part in this. So you want to continue to run, but as we grow older, managing recovery is going to vary from person to person. But you may find that, hard intensity workout, like if you're still trying to run fast, that may bury you, may put you in the recovery hole longer than it used to. So you may find you need 2 or 3 days after a typical track session before you can, either run again or run harder again. So be mindful of recovery as we grow old. Again, we don't want to put ourselves out and not be running because it's harder to get back into running. Instead of doing that hard track session that's going to put you out for a couple days, I recommend doing things like striders or surges on 2 or 3 easy runs throughout your running week. Striders are essentially all-out sprints towards the end of a run for about 20 to 30 seconds. So you gradually come up to a full sprint, hold that sprint for 20 to 30 seconds, and then slowly come back to an easy recovery run. This does a couple things. One, you're pushing off, you're propelling your body with this explosive force, right? There's that explosive training we're talking about. You open up your gait a little bit, you get out of those little short steps that we get into when we're doing easy runnings, and you're running at your maximal speed. So you're using more oxygen and you're training your body, those fast twitch muscles. So we can do those at the end of every easy or a lot of easy runs. We can also do surges in the middle of an easy run. These are great ways to break up a longer easy run, just like striders, except these are in the middle of a run. So go out 1 mile easy and then do a 30-second surge in the middle of an easy run where you're coming up almost to maximal speed. Hold it for 30 seconds and then return to an easy pace for 2 to 3 minutes or until you feel fully recovered. Do about 6 to 8 of those. And if you want to progress that, you can do a 30-second surge 1 week, 45-second surge the next, 60-second surge the following week after that. And you can increase that distance and also decrease your recovery time if you feel like you can. These are all good ways to get in, speed and power training without burying you for days to come for recovery. So finally, we talked about how your VO2 max will drop, right? This is your body's aerobic capacity, and also your fast twitch muscles will start to atrophy. Your fast twitch muscles are the ones that are pushing you faster, the ones that are being used, the ones that are taking in oxygen when you're running fast. So both of those really are declines, and that's why we see the performance drops in things like 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and even the marathon. However, your aerobic capacity doesn't drop. That is something that we can increase. Your aerobic capacity, think about that as your body's ability to utilize oxygen at lower intensities. Okay, so we can still train that. We still can make that better as we grow older. And that's done by easy running, longer runs. So that can still be increased. And some of those fast twitch muscles can be converted to slow twitch muscles. And again, that's just by run training long, slow distances and running easy. So both of those can be modified and your performance can be increased in longer endurance events, right? So while you may have run your fastest half marathon and marathon by the age 30 or 40, as you go longer, 50 miles, 100 miles, or more, those performance increases in aerobic capacity and slow twitch muscles can actually propel your training, and you can go faster and longer distances. All right, guys. Well, I hope that's really helped you out. Answer the question here for Chris. Drop a comments in the video. Let me know if you have any more questions. I appreciate all the questions coming in.